Alright. I think it works. Okay, originally, I wanted to do this video as a live stream. Long story short, it seemed like a huge pain and I don't want to deal with it. So, but anyway, we're still doing I'm pretending like it's a live stream, right? So it's one continuous take, no edits and all that jazz. I have to get used to seeing myself on the video right in front of me, because that's a new thing. Anyway, okay, so that's it. All right. So getting to the list. This is the second update now for my video game list, challenge list, video game challenge list. I didn't write a script because I wanted it to be kind of conversationalist, hence the live stream. But it's not a live stream, so I'm just talking to myself now. But that's okay. I probably should have come up with a script. That would have helped. I'll put down like in the description when I actually get to talking about the games, because I'm sure I'll ramble some more. So you can look for that. Skip over all the rambling. But anyway, let's just get the list. Okay, the first game, I don't remember the first game I played, but we're gonna get okay. We're gonna start off with updating the list. What's different about the list? So we'll start off with a game that I played that I didn't like, so I took it off. So this is an update of my list. The first game I played that I didn't care for was, can you see that? Castlevania, the Dracula X Chronicles. Now, I'm gonna keep it. I'll keep it in my collection. It's a nice box and all that. But I think I don't like Castlevania, and that's disappointing to me because I like the look of Castlevania. I really like the anime series. I don't really consider 4 episodes being a series, but whatever. There's 8 more coming. That was great. I like the look of it, and it's got such a good fan base. Well, it's got a big one. I don't know if it's a good one. I haven't really paid much attention, but they're just very okay. So the Dracula X Chronicles includes Rondo of Blood, which was apparently an old Castlevania game. I knew it was old, but it's really old because I've played the first one on the 3DS via Virtual Console, and I liked it for what it was. I didn't beat it, but I enjoyed it for what it tried to do. But I played this, and the gameplay felt to me exactly the same. But it's updated, like new 3D graphics, cutting edge PSP 3D graphics, and when a game looks newer than it plays, that bothers me. That's just a pet peeve thing. So I can handle playing the original Castlevania because it looks like an old game and it plays like an old game. That's fine. I still will never beat it, and I'll never buy the physical cart. Probably not, because I don't find it that fun. Very slow, very stiff, and this was also that. And then I actually played 4, and at first I thought, okay, I get it now, because you can whip things in all different directions instead of the older games where it's like, hey, look, a bat. I can't reach it. So, what I'm saying is I don't like Castlevania, and I'm admitting that now, which is helpful because now I won't go and buy Castlevania games. But I still I'm Castlevania friendly. I like it. I just won't ever play it. It's just not my thing. And I replaced it with usually when I don't like a game and I throw it off the list. I say usually, this is still a new thing, but anyway, I try to replace it with something that's similar, This time that didn't happen because I kind of impulse bought a game and I wanted to play it. So I threw this on the list. It's called, I don't know how to pronounce it exactly, but it's Rodea or Rodea, the Sky Soldier. Now this game's interesting, and I don't want to talk too much about it until I play it, because then it'll just be redundant. I'll talk about it twice. Nobody wants that. So all my 15 fans, right? I think some of those people are the same people. So, but yeah, hey, I got 15 subscribers. It might even be 16 now. I don't know, but like, that's more than it was a few days ago. So that's cool. I'll probably do like a big extravagant 15 subscriber special video, to show my appreciation for the fans. Maybe not, but it might. Who knows? I gotta have something to do. I'm doing a video a week. Gotta do something sometime. So anyway, I'll talk about that when I play it. So that now, I think that's... Oh no, there was one more thing. There's a game I'm taking off the list because I came up with a new rule. Because it's my list, I can come up with rules whenever I want. I actually came up with it last time. It was... games that are really short, they don't count. And so I consulted... howlongtobeat.com, I think that's it. And it's I use that site just to kind of gauge how big a game is, just so I can kind of figure out what to play and when. I don't want to be stuck with like 5 40-hour games at the end of my list. I want to spread them out a bit. So and one of my games apparently is 2 hours, and that's Pac-Man 2. Of course, it might take me longer because I think it's an adventure type game, like a side-scrolling adventure thing, and I'm terrible at those. But I'm still going to play it. It's a really short game, so I'm actually attaching it to the game that I'm replacing it with, which means I'll play Pac-Man 2 first, and then I'll follow it with another game. I've got it back here, and it might be a little... It's kind of random. It's a very random game. It's also an adventure type game where you'll walk around and figure stuff out, but the tone is probably very, very different, and it's this giant box, Phantasmagoria. Take a look at that thing. I'm trying to get it perfectly in the... Can I get it perfectly in the... Nah, it's too much work. So this is a giant box. Here's the thing. The thing with Phantasmagoria, I don't want to like talk about it too much like the last game that I said I wasn't going to talk too much about. Basically, just like I thought this game, when I was younger, I saw footage from this game. It's like ultra violent, and it's I thought that was what Night Trap was. Because I heard people like talking about, ooh, Night Trap, like there was this controversy. And I saw footage of this and I just assumed that was it. And then when I found out what Night Trap actually was, I was like, that's the game they were freaking out about? So, like this, I've got some history with this game, even though I never played it. And I was inspired to buy the big box version because I've been watching some Metal Jesus Rocks videos. He likes his big boxes. He actually worked at Sierra, the company that made this game. And so I kind of got inspired to buy the giant box version, even though like I just rearranged my whole room. Like everything's different. Everything's in a different place. And I have no room for a giant PC box. Like there's literally not a place to put it. So it's going under my bed. That's where it goes. So, until I figure out what to do with that. So, anyway. Moving on to the actual list. We're at, 9 minutes now? Okay. So, this is where the video starts. I'll put the time thing in the thing. Okay. The first game I beat. Okay. Not necessarily the first game I played. Actually, the first game I played this month was a game I was playing last month. And, just went over. And that was The Witcher. And I'll get to The Witcher later. But for now, I had to take a break from it. But I'll talk about it later, because I will. But the first game I finished this month, January, was South Park, The Fractured Butthole. Um, this game was great. I love this game. I like the first one a lot. The general consensus is that the first game is better. The Stick of Truth, the first one. I don't know that I can say that. I think they're both really good, but they're different. They both do different things better. I enjoyed the combat a lot in this game, a lot more than the first one. The first one I liked, it was fairly basic. This has a little bit more to it, and I really enjoyed that. I've always cared more about gameplay than anything else anyway, usually. So anyway, but the first game does have a more, like, a better story, I guess. But I really enjoyed playing South Park. I never got tired of it. I just played it straight through and beat it, and it was really good. I'd give it, if I were a professional video game reviewer, which I am not, I would give it like an 8. I'd give it an 8. I'd give the first game an 8 too. They're both solid games, fun to play, hilarious, all that good stuff. So, yeah. Then the next game I finished was another kind of a random one for the original Xbox, Sudeki. What? I didn't know. I didn't know if I was going to finish this one because first impressions not very good. I found the combat in Sudeki to be awful. It's like it's pretty much just an action RPG. I assumed it would be more faster paced combat, but it actually like makes you slow down. You gotta time stuff, and I just found it to be not good at all. But there's 4 characters in this game. And you like rotate between them. Sometimes you have access to all 4. Sometimes you only have access to 2, or 1. But there's 2 characters that are ranged. So there's 2 melee characters, 2 ranged characters. The ranged characters I actually enjoyed playing as. It kind of makes it a first-person shooter. It's a third-person like RPG where you run around and there's towns and you talk to people, you get quests, all that good stuff. But then the combat like is basically like arena based. You'll enter an area and it'll close off the exits, and then a bunch of monsters come in and you gotta kill them all, and that's all the combat. And it does get a little bit tedious because if you're exploring, every time you go to the same areas, monsters will always spawn there. So that's kind of a drag. But playing as a ranged character, I found it like doable because there was no combat. You just point and you shoot, which it was really interesting. You know, when I played this game, I wasn't expecting to be any first person shooter elements in it, but there was. But luckily, because I hate shooters, it wasn't. You know, it's very basic shooters. I mean, you hold back on the stick and you rotate and you basically just like backing away from everything while you're shooting in a circle, and it's like explaining it's not very good, and like this cover is pretty terrible, kind of legendarily awful cover. Basically, like, don't ever use CGI models on your video game cover. That will never ever hold up. So like the Japanese release was anime. They had an anime drawing, and that looked great. And this just looks, this looks like a game from 2004 or whenever this came out, 2000 and 2004. I was correct. Cool. Okay. Anyway, I'd give that game. It's tough because the ending was awful. It was bad. There wasn't one. It was like they showed you spoilers. They show you like, okay, you beat the bad guy, and then it's like, brah, I'm gonna kill you. Like, this is a cutscene, right? Rawr. And then like you swing and it like fades to white or black. I think it's white. They fade to white. and then it's like a quick thing, like the announcer, the narrator, or whatever, who shows up at the beginning of the game to like give you lore or whatever, is like, and the heroes beat the bad guys, and it's like, oh cool, can't wait for this ending like cutscene now, and then credits just start rolling, and there's no ending cutscene. So it was kind of like, oh, the game's over now. Okay, go away. Thanks. Anyway, so the game is, I'd give it a 7. You know, it's a generous 7, because I acknowledge that the game's not that good, but for whatever reason, I was engaged the whole time. I don't know, just the world, I guess, was interesting. The characters, I guess, they existed. They were there. They were characters. I didn't hate any of them, not really. So, you know, it's a generous 7. Would I recommend you go out and buy it? Nah. I mean, you can't play it. It's not backwards compatible on the 360. Obviously not on the One either. So the only way you can play it is get an Xbox. Though it's on PC, which I'm sure you can mod it to hex and make it a good game that way. Then the next game I beat. Somehow a game that completely I just missed. You know, and I think it was because it's a Wii game. And, you know, the Wii had a lot of games that weren't very good. But it was Wario Land. Shake It. It's called that, so. This was a great game. This was fantastic, actually. Yeah, I mean, I've always been a huge fan of Wario. Maybe not always, but ever since I was young enough to play Game Boy games. When did the first one get, like, really out of? Since, like, single-digit age, you know, so basically always, you know. I loved the first Wario Land game, played it to death. I enjoyed the second one too, but the first one is the one that's like that's my game, you know. Like, I played that. It's one of my all-time favorites. And then for whatever reason, I never played anything after the second one until the 3DS gave me some Wario games to play. So I played 3 on that and 4 on that, and I didn't really get either one. I didn't play hardly any of them. But yeah, I mean, I had a Wii when it came out. It took me 6 months to find one. But I missed Wario Land Shake It. And I think it's because the title has Shake It in it. So you're thinking like, oh, great. It's one of those games where you gotta shake because it's on the Wii. And of course, it's like Donkey Kong where you have to in order to roll, you have to shake the thing. And it's like, why would you ever do that? But it's actually, it works in this game because, like, it's never that important, you know. Like, the only thing you do with the shaking is, I think you can punch the ground, and then that like can interrupt people, or like, basically that's all you would like. That's the only time it's important to like do it right now, right when you need it to, is to like interrupt something that an enemy's doing. But it just works, and then you can grab a bag, like a money bag, and then you have to shake the Wiimote, and he shakes the bag, and money goes everywhere, and that's fun. I enjoyed that. This really did use the motion control, despite it being a 2D platformer. It actually used motion controls in a good and innovative way, and the art style. I mean, look at this cover. Look at how great that cover looks. The game looks like this. Like, that's what the game looks like. It's fantastic. It kind of makes me mad, actually, because of how good the 2D art is, that we don't have any other games really that look like this. I mean, shouldn't that be the natural progression of 2D graphics? Instead, we're still dealing with like either sprite-based animations or like crappy Flash animations. But this is all hand-drawn stuff, and it's fantastic. And I bought this game for $2.50. So that was probably the best $2.50 I ever spent. So that's a keeper. It's a good one. It's a good game. Okay. The next game I beat, I don't even know if I told you how many I beat. I beat 5. We've done 3. We got 2 left. So hold on. The next game I finished was I wasn't sure that I was going to. I mean, I guess I was sure that I was going to, because like I've kind of made it my job to now. I got to finish my games. I got the list. I got the videos. People are gonna watch, maybe sometimes, possibly, probably not. But I do this for me anyway. And that this has helped me out. Like doing the list, it's helpful, because I've finished 5 games again. That's 2 months in a row I finished 5 games. That's 10 games, right? So that's probably more games than I finished last year total. I mean, honestly. So, if you are having trouble finishing your games, I recommend making a list and putting yourself out there on the YouTubes and saying like, hey, sorry guys, I didn't beat any games this month. I'm sorry. And you don't want to do that, so you gotta get them done. Anyway, as I said 10 minutes ago, the next game I beat, Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. That's the whole title, right? Yes. It's called Over 50 E3 Awards, 6 nominations, Nintendo Switch Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle, Everyone 10 plus E10 ESRB includes Pixel Pack, 8 unique weapons, Ubisoft. That's a long title. It's a good game. Really good game. It's a strategy RPG. Not my favorite genre. I have played, I like Fire Emblem, which is strategy RPG, but I've played others that just bore me to tears. I think it's just because of how slow they are. I mean, it's strategy, so you'll want it to be slow. But I like turn-based RPGs. Those are fairly slow, but these types, they're twice as slow as turn-based RPGs, because turn-based RPGs you gotta figure out which attack to do, and then you do it, and then it does it. In strategy RPGs, you have to do all that in addition to figuring out where you want to stand. And interestingly enough, South Park, the Fractured Butthole, actually used some strategy RPG elements in the combat, which I found interesting, because it's South Park. But it was, they did a really good job. But here's the thing: this game, it dragged a bit for me, in the middle, the first half middle-ish area. Then it clicked. Once you get enough power orbs, which is like experience, and you get to customize your characters a bit to get them the way you want your characters to be, it starts feeling really satisfying when you're beating up, Rabbids and doing all that stuff, and you do it the way you want to do it, because you customize your characters the way you wanted. So that was really fun. And then the challenge did get a little bit harder. It was never overwhelmingly hard, which was fine, because it's Mario. But it was just really well done. There are challenges you can do afterwards, which I'm sure bump up the difficulty. But I didn't do too much of that. I didn't do a whole lot of extra stuff. I did a little bit, because I like overpowering myself in games. So I did do a little bit to get a little extra. Yeah. I mean, there is one common complaint, and there is that you get 8 characters, but you probably just stick with the same ones over and over again, and I found that to be pretty true. I did try to experiment a little bit. I did find it odd that you don't get the whole roster until 7/8 of the way through the game. I mean, really, spoilers. You get Yoshi at before there's 4 more sections to do or whatever, because the game is broken up into worlds, 4 worlds, 9 or 10 areas, chapters, I guess you'd call them, per world, and then each chapter is 2 to 3 fights, or I guess 1 if one's a boss battle. But you don't get Yoshi until like halfway through the last world, so it's like, what's even the point, you know? So if they were to do this again, which I'm sure they will because it's Ubisoft and it was really successful, I guess more reason to play other characters. I don't know, give them to you earlier. But yeah, and it's funny because South Park back here somewhere, I threw it back here. South Park, also Ubisoft, right? But this game did not feel like a Ubisoft game. I guess there were Rabbids in it, so it kind of did. But they kind of have a reputation to have unpolished messes for games, and this had that Nintendo polish. You know, they weren't gonna, you know, they weren't gonna release a crappy product with Mario on it. At least one that didn't work. You know, I've got Mario has bad games, sure, but they all function. But so does this one, so that's cool. And I bring that up because South Park did not. This was the Ubisoft I know and hate. You know, I had to reset the game like, I don't know, 3 or 4 times because I got stuck in rooms and the game didn't know that, you know, you have to open a door or talk to somebody, and like one fight just the enemies stopped attacking. So it's like, yeah, this was typical Ubisoft. Still a good game. But this was something else. This was something special, and it's a good game. It's a great game. I'd give it like, it wasn't. I don't know. Like, I don't like giving games numbers. Not really, because it's an experience. You know, like throughout this game, I was up here, I was down here. It wasn't. I can't just give it a number and say like that's it, that's the game. The whole game was one number. That doesn't work. I give it like a 9. It's pretty good. Anyway, okay, now we get to my last game, right? My last game, sort of. It's his last game. It's the last game I beat. Where is it? So I told you I'd talk about The Witcher. That's because I beat it. I beat The Witcher. You can't see that at all, can you? Can I? A little bit. There you go. Ooh. The Witcher. I've got some history with this game. Okay, I bought this years ago. It came out in 2008. I did not buy it in 2008, or was it 7? The enhanced edition, I'm pretty sure, was 8, which is what this is. I bought it, you know, after that. But still, I've had it for a while. I've played through the beginning several times, and I just couldn't get into it. But I kept hearing about how great, like, The Witcher 2 was, and then The Witcher 3 came out, and I kept hearing about how much better The Witcher 3 was than The Witcher 2, which was great. And actually, when I first bought this game, I don't even know if The Witcher 2 was out yet. I mean, I bought this a while ago. And because I wanted a single-player RPG, I think I just built a computer or had someone else build it. Specifically to play The Old Republic, Star Wars The Old Republic. That didn't really pan out because the game was extremely mediocre. But still, it's nice to have a computer, you know. But yeah, I think I bought this for that. Don't buy this game for just like it doesn't function all that great. It's not like, I don't know what the word is. I'm not a PC guy, but like it doesn't run that well. Like even if you've got a great computer, you'll run into some lag. You'll run into some frame rate drops. I was playing on like medium settings and it was fine, but every once in a while it just didn't want to work, and it crashed several times, which was, you know, for me, I hate that. I hate that a lot. That's why I don't even do PC gaming a whole lot, but it's the only way to play The Witcher. But really, really good game. Also really terrible. It's so weird. I can't even explain this game. Okay, so I got my Pokemon pants on. Yeah, it's just, you know, we're just hanging out, you know, in my bed. It's not weird. Whatever. Okay, so this game, I love this game. Let me just say that. I loved it and I hated it. It made me so angry, and I was so happy to beat it because I loved it so much. Does this make sense? Good. It's like when it came out, it was dated, right? The voice acting is terrible in the best way. The game does have some nice, like, vistas, some areas. The maybe the specific graphics aren't great. I honestly not sure what great graphics from 2007 would be when the original version of the game came out. But like some areas looked really cool, but the art of it was fantastic. And what's cool about The Witcher, and what kind of sets it apart from can you see that, from other RPGs, is that it's not American made, and it's not Japanese. It's not a JRPG, but it's not really a Western RPG, though I don't know. Is Europe Western? I don't even know. But I know where Europe is. I just don't know, like, if you consider it to be like a Western RPG. Is this a Western RPG? Because Europe is like it's in the middle there. But anyway, the point is it's Polish. Poland, people from Poland made this game. Based on a novel series from a Polish dude named I don't know. It's like, I think it's Andre is what it's pronounced, but there's like a J in there somewhere, so probably not that. And then his last name, who knows, like Sapkowski, something. But I read the first book. It was really good, actually. The only reason I haven't read the books is because the way they released them in America, there's 2 books that are this tall and the rest are this tall, and that I don't like books that are this tall. I like the little books, but they only released 2 books that were this tall, and it's like the first and third book or something random like that. And that just bothers me. So it's stupid stuff like that that's stopping me from reading books I want to read. Is that weird? Yeah. I feel like this camera's shaking a lot. Is that giving people like motion sickness? I don't know. I'm still messing with the format here. I just really wish I could have done live streaming, but I'll see if I can figure that out later. But anyway, back to The Witcher. Loved it. And I'm so happy I beat it. Because, I've tried to beat it multiple times, and I just, I couldn't do it. But I because of the list that I made, I struggled through, and it was so worth it. Like the end of this game, the ending, not gonna say specifically what happens, but it's like weird, but it's cool and it's great, and it seemingly comes out of nowhere, but then it's like, oh, I see what they did, and it's one of those games like brings together all the decisions you made, and it like confronts you with them, and it's just, oh, it was so well done. And the ending of your game matters, right? Like it's important, because that's the last thing people like see in their minds when your game is over, is the end of it. So that'll affect your entire perception of the game. Which is why Mass Effect 3 was a great game that I absolutely hate and will never play again. I feel like in like 50 years from now, assuming I'm still alive, I'll still talk about how terrible Mass Effect 3's ending was. But anyway, we're not talking about that. We're talking about The Witcher. And now I can finally move on to the next games in the series. I did add the second one to my list. I think I said that last time. I don't know if I'll add the third one to this list because it's giant. But here's the thing. See, those are all my games. See, I created another list. I wasn't going to, because I didn't want to think that far ahead. But then I started justifying more video game purchases by saying, just throw it on the next list. It's fine because I gotta have one, right? I mean, I'm gonna keep playing games. But so I decided I'd actually make one so that I'd have, a list. I would know, about where my backlog is, and it's interesting because like I made it 35 games again. Because so far this is going pretty good. I don't know if we'll keep it up because I got some pretty long games coming up to play. So I don't know if I'm gonna get 5 consistently like every month, but but I did make another list. It's the same amount. I'm not gonna say what games are on it because if that's so far out, it'll change. I know it will. But that's it. So I have another list in waiting, and I'm looking through like all my games that I have, and like I don't actually know. Come on, there it is. I don't actually know if I have enough to make a third list, which is nice because like I'm actually making my way through these games that I have, which is the whole point of this. So it's working out. It's working out really good. Um, and now for the closing section. Um, Real quick, just going over what I'm currently playing. It's not a whole lot because I beat The Witcher like days ago, so like I haven't really played a whole lot. I haven't got very far in anything I have played. The big one, I wouldn't say the big one. There's two. I'm playing 2 games at the moment because I like to have a couple options so I don't get burned out. The one I was really looking forward to playing is a PSP game called Star Ocean First Departure. This is a this is a remake of a Super Nintendo game that we never got because the Japanese like to not translate awesome games. They still do that too. Anyway, I should just learn Japanese. But that's that's work. But anyway, yeah, this is the first time we got the first Star Ocean game. Was 2008, I think 8. It's looking like 8. And we had gotten I think 2 and 3 before that. 2 was on the PlayStation, the original PlayStation. 3 was on the PlayStation 2, and then 3 was PlayStation 3. 3 was PlayStation 2. Let me start over. 2 was PlayStation 1. 3 was PlayStation 2. 4 was PlayStation 3. Actually, it was Xbox 360. Then that was ported. See, I like to do research on the games I play. Like I like to know everything there is to know, minus like the games themselves. Does that make sense? I like the backstory. I like context. I don't know. I think that helps me enjoy the game, is if I know like what it took to make it, when it came out, all that kind of stuff. That stuff's fascinating to me. So and I already know like which games are considered good, which games are polarizing, which games apparently suck. Apparently the last game that just came out, as in like a year and a half ago, apparently that's terrible, so that's something to look forward to. But so far, I've played only a few hours of this. It's kind of your standard, like Final Fantasy-esque, like Super Nintendo. I mean, it came out on the Super Nintendo, so it's your standard Super Nintendo RPG, except for the PSP. It's been updated. It's kind of funny. It has every graphic style there is, basically. Your characters are sprite-based, and the enemies are the same. And then, like, towns and stuff are beautiful 2D art. Like, really nice. Like, I'll play any game that looks like that. But then the overworld, when you leave a town, it's 3D, like 3D graphics, like polygons. And you can rotate and spin around. So it's got sprites, hand-drawn art, and 3D graphics in it. Which you would think would be terrible, but no, because it all mixes. The only thing is that, the 3D graphics, those can be dated, like, okay, this looks like a 3D PSP game, but all the other times it's like, this looks great. Yeah, it's interesting. It's like your typical fantasy RPG, except like with Star Trek thrown in. I believe Star Trek was like the major influence in this, and you can tell right away. Not right away, because right away you're living on some planet out in space. I guess they're all out in space. I assumed you would be playing as humans in this game. You'd be flying through space and whatever, but you're actually, in this game at least, playing as the aliens, which are, in good Star Trek fashion, look exactly like humans except for one minor detail. So in this game, your characters all have tails, but other than that, they all look perfectly human. Because of course that would happen. But yeah, and then like 2 hours. I think it took 2 hours into the game before the space part came in. And I was wondering, like, because the game's called Star Ocean, it's got a planet on the cover, and it's like, I wasn't expecting a fantasy RPG at all. I thought it was like all in space. Like I said, I like to do research about the backgrounds of games, but I don't like to spoil anything about the games themselves. So I don't know what happens in this game, but I'm looking forward to it. I think I have like 3 or 4 hours into it, which for an RPG is nothing. So but yeah, I'm looking forward to playing it. I'm looking forward to playing the next ones. I'm looking forward to being horribly disappointed in the last one that came out, just like everyone else. So that's cool. Then the other game I didn't bring out, but I won't go get it. Fire Emblem Warriors Switch. Fire Emblem Warriors. I almost said Fire Emblem Switch, which is the project name of the new Fire Emblem. But then I said Fire Emblem Warriors, but then I said Fire Emblem Warriors Switch, which I guess is redundant because it's on Switch. Anyway, I'm playing that game. I played that a little bit. It's kind of like Hyrule Warriors, except Fire Emblem. Actually, it's exactly Hyrule Warriors, except Fire Emblem. Warriors titles are based off of like Dynasty Warriors and all that stuff. It's weird. It's an entire genre. Like it's weird how a company can make a game and just have it be its own genre by repeatedly making the same game over and over and over and over and over again, with different skins on it. But it works, They made They made 2 Dragon Quest ones. The second game is actually on my next list, because I wanted to spread out my PS4 games. I didn't want all my new games on this list. Push it off the side. So I'll get to it. Hold on. But the point of me bringing those up is the fact that those actually feel quite a bit different than Hyrule Warriors and the other one, Fire Emblem Warriors. So they're not all exactly the same. But Fire Emblem Warriors definitely does feel a bit like Hyrule Warriors, except not as good because it's not Legend of Zelda. But it's still good. It's fun. It's hack and slash chaos. That's fun. So I haven't played too much of that either. So and that's all I've had going. So I guess that's it. All right. So yeah, made it to the end. Made it to the end of the video. Like I said, I'd like to figure out live streaming because I really wanted to do it this time, but yeah, I don't know. It seemed overly complicated. YouTube, it says you can just use your webcam and stream straight to YouTube, and then when you click on it, it says, "Oh, no, not anymore. We got rid of that." So it's like, "Oh, thanks for giving me the option and then telling me that it's not an option." I don't know. Like I was assuming it would just work because it was there. It said so, which is why I didn't prepare beforehand. So maybe, I don't know, just maybe keep your stuff updated. Oh, maybe, I don't know. But anyway, so that's it. I like the format of this better than what I tried to do before. I think because this is just hanging out, talking about games, sitting here in my Pink Floyd shirt, my Pokemon pants, in my bed. It's not weird. It's fine. I'm just hanging out in my bed. It's fine. It's alright. It's cool. So, I don't know. What are you guys up to? What are you doing? What are you playing? What are you playing? You playing anything? Playing any games? Playing the games? I did buy a game. I'll show you the game I bought. Because it's kind of interesting. So, yeah. Okay, my leg's asleep. Alright, so this was somewhat of an impulse buy. I say somewhat because I have a extremely extensive list of games that I want to buy. If I think of a game I want, I just put it in my phone. And, where's my phone? Somewhere. There we go. Let me see if I can... I don't know if this will show up at all. But, can you see that? No. Yes, there it is. See? You see all that? You see it? I'm going to scroll. I'm going to scroll there. Oh, it went away. There we go. Scrolling some more. No, it went away again. Scrolling some more. See? Okay. Let me see if I can do it. Yeah, it's not gonna work. But anyway, I had those were all categories, because I have over 20 consoles. I have handhelds in addition to those, and assuming that I want several games for all of those, that ends up being a very big list of video games. So, and just whenever that list originally. Okay, it was just so I could remember what games I wanted whenever I'd go into a store that had old video games. But I kind of defeated the purpose of that when I made the list like over 100 games long, because I'm not going to look through that every time. So now, just whenever I think of a game that I want, I'll just pop it in there. So this game was on that list, and it was Mickey Mania. And then there's a subtitle, which is the Timeless Adventures of Mickey Mouse for Sega CD, because everyone loves the Sega CD, which is why it was so popular. This game kind of sucks, actually. I played it today, and it's not great, but it's interesting, and I like interesting games. Again, like I researched the background and all that junk. I played Castle of Illusion and World of Illusion on the Genesis. I didn't play those back when I was a kid. I played those well after the fact, like maybe a year or so ago for the first time. And I liked those, and it kind of made me wonder, like, okay, what are other Mickey games like? And Mickey Mania sounded interesting. And there was a Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, Sega CD, and PlayStation version of this game. And the Sega CD version interested me the most for several reasons. The one was that it's on the Sega CD. I just like the Sega CD. It's just weird to me. I like weird games. I like weird consoles. I like stuff that maybe other people haven't really played. I don't know. Just it's interesting to me. And I enjoy playing games that are interesting. But yeah, this game actually isn't good at all. At all, really. Okay. Maybe that's exaggerating. You know, it's got a really nice soundtrack. Really good soundtrack, because it's a Sega CD game, and pretty much all Sega CD games had a good soundtrack. Art style's great. It's you run through different like cartoons that Mickey had. Cartoons that Mickey had. So like the first level is Steamboat Willie, black and white. Then as you play through it, like more color is added. It's really interesting. And then the second one is the Mad Doctor, and it's all like dark, and there's skeletons, and there's like bats, and it's pretty terrible. Like this game is really hard for all the wrong reasons. Like there's a lot of what do you call it? There's a lot of do's and don'ts in platformers, and there's a lot of things that you just don't do in your platformer, and this game does all of them. Like leaps of faith. So like, you know, you're on a ledge and you got to jump off the ledge and land somewhere. But you can't tell where you're supposed to land, so you just leap into the great unknown and hope you don't fall to your death. And in this game, you do that, and then you fall to your death because you don't know where to go. And then stuff like just falls on you from the ceiling, and then like even beating an enemy isn't enough. So like the skeletons, if you somehow kill them without getting hit, they explode, and then you gotta dodge their stupid bones, and jumping on their heads, like you gotta do it right, or else, you know, if you're too close, you'll take damage. And that's the thing. Like the hitbox, Mickey is like, you know, Mickey's this big, your hitbox is like this big. So if something like Mickey's here, and if something comes up you like this far away, you still take the damage because the game just isn't all that good. But I don't regret buying it because I found it for like half the price that they have it online for. So like I find it interesting. I'm glad I have it in my collection. I don't know if I'll ever beat it because every time I die, I make this face. So, you know, but still, it's interesting, and it has a charm to it. Yeah, the other reason why I wanted the Sega CD version is because the Super Nintendo version has like parts missing, like it's just missing a level, and the Genesis version is fine, like it's fine. But then the Sega CD version is like a better version of that because it's got like CD quality audio. And the cool thing about Sega CD games is a lot of them, the game itself is a soundtrack. You can put it in a CD player and listen to the soundtrack. I think that's awesome. Nobody would care now because CDs are like, oh, those are old. Who wants a CD? It's like, shut up, I do. So that's cool to me. So if anything else, I got a really cool soundtrack because the music's great. But the big thing was I didn't want the PlayStation version because they added in 3D like polygons, because there's some like scrolling effects in this game where you're like rotating around a giant pillar and there's like platforms and you're like circling around it, and then there's one where you're running away from a moose that's chasing you from behind, and it's like, you know, it's front, so like you know, you gotta move side to side, but like you run forward automatically, so that it's like pseudo 3D graphics, and the PlayStation just makes them normal 3D graphics, which is, you know, boring. So this is like the best version with 2D graphics, but you know, best version of a bad game. What are you gonna do? But yeah, I played it. It's not on the list because it's a short game, but it'll take me forever to beat it because it's bad. So that's that. Okay, I think that's good enough. I think I've taken enough of your time. Who am I kidding? You're gone by now, right? Like, why would you continue to watch? I finished the list like 10 minutes ago, and it took me 10 minutes to get to the list. So, you know, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You know, something to do. Something to do. Okay, so that's it. We're gonna say bye-bye now. So let's see. How are we gonna end this video? How are we gonna end it? It's got to be a creative way of doing it. Got to come up with like a good way to end the video. Maybe